It's inevitable that you will find abundance in your perfect, authentic way. It's unlimited.
No matter what your story is, no matter what your narrative is, if you grew up in complete lack, if you don't have the expanders, it is possible to transform it.
The universe is your bank account. Money comes through that.
From To Be Magnetic, this is the Expanded Podcast with your host, Lacy Phillips.
And your host, Jessica Gill.
As the leading destination for neural manifestation, we dispel the woo-woo in order to help you create real, tangible results based on neuroplasticity, psychology, epigenetics, and energetics. Our goal is to normalize the practice of manifestation and empower you to get into the driver's seat of your life in order to manifest the experiences, relationships, and things that most align with your authenticity. And by pressing play, the process begins.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Expanded. Jessica here. I am so excited to announce our mid-year challenge. If you are new here, we do challenges with our community in our membership, The Pathway, twice a year. And this has been a highly requested theme to break down and go through. So this year's mid-year challenge is going to be the money challenge. 3 weeks to your next level of abundance. So no matter where you're at right now, no matter what relationship you have with money, how you look at money, how you look at abundance, how you look at really integrating the energetic of true, authentic abundance into your life, we are going to get you to the next level by the end of the challenge. It is kicking off on June 2nd with our pre-week. I am beyond excited for this because really the relationship and the conversation that we're going to talk about today on this episode, and also what we're going to talk about and teach throughout this challenge, is really how abundance and abundance mindset is so much deeper and so much richer and so much more soul supporting than just money. Money is a tool that we need for survival. Absolutely. It is something that we need for our basic needs to be covered, for shelter, for food, and it is a necessity in our life in this day and age. And how do we not put money on a pedestal when for so long we've been programmed to just get to the next level of money? That's going to bring us the happiness. That will bring us the joy. What can that look like when we're coming from a place of authenticity? When we say we want more money, what do we really want? What need are we trying to get fulfilled here? Those are all the things that we're going to tackle, not only in this challenge, but over the next few weeks and months on the podcast as well. Really redefining our relationship with abundance and what it looks like and how we can tap into it right now, no matter where we are at with money, and how a lot of our limiting beliefs from childhood, from society, from programming, from peers are still running the show when it comes to our money stories, and how can we take our power back and really get into an empowered state with it. We're also launching our money quiz today. You can find the link in the show notes. You can find it in our social media. You can find it on our website. It's a free quiz where you can answer some questions and really understand where your subconscious is in relation to money. What are the beliefs hanging out down there? And how are those beliefs showing up in your actions and self-sabotage, in your belief systems, in your judgments around money? It doesn't matter what level you land at, we're going to help you get to the next one. These are the tools and the teachings, and everything that we put into this challenge are the actual things that have shifted not only our members' life, but Lacy's life, my life. It has up-leveled us time and time again for a deeper and more fulfilling relationship with money and abundance. So excited to bring this to you guys. I think this is so needed right now, and I just really want to empower everyone to feel their version of authentic abundance and financial freedom. So before we jump into this episode, we are really using this episode as a framework of expansion. So one thing that I really loved doing when I was moving between rungs financially, or if I was feeling in super lack, I wanted to understand the mindset, the belief system that people had when they interacted with money with ease. So that is what we're going to dive into today. What are those characteristics? What are those pillars? What are those traits of people who are in their most abundant state? And if you're not there, it's okay. I mean, I'm not even there in all of the categories. I'm still learning. I'm still integrating, but it's how do we chip away and get to that next level, the next level. So before we jump in, just take a little grounding breath. I know the topic of money can be really triggering. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and people are at a lot of different places with money. And it can feel really unsafe if you don't know when more money's coming in or if you are going to have the money to pay for the things that you need. So let's take a deep breath, hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Just fill up your belly. And if you feel any activation coming up, try just shaking your wrists, maybe moving your arms. Just let any of that anxious energy release through your hands, maybe shimmy your shoulders, shake your hips, and just allow that to kind of move any of the tense energy that might be coming up around money out. And I just invite you to open up your mind to see what resonates, to maybe even step into the possibility of what would it feel like if I really lived from this place, if I really felt these things were true, or if I really connected with this on a deep level, what would that feel like? Allow that to just start entering in a little pocket of expansion, even during this episode. Enjoy.
And now, a word from our partners.
One of my authentic code words is home. And part of that pillar of my authentic code is home within self, with wellness, self-care, nourishment, grounding, soothing. And we know that wellness is more than just our physical health. It's that deep alignment with our mind, body, and spirit. But in today's world, we're constantly bombarded with stress, environmental toxins, modern disruptions, connection to our phone that's throwing us all out of whack. And it really disconnects us from our innate wisdom and healing potential. Armor Colostrum is the body's original blueprint for health, packed with over 400 bioactive nutrients that restore cellular integrity deep within, helping to defend against everyday threats, strengthen your immunity, fortify your gut, and elevate your focus. And it works by optimizing your whole body microbiome. It strengthens your immune barriers around your mouth, sinuses, lungs, gut, urinary, and reproductive tract to guard against unwelcome particles and strengthen that barrier so you're not taking in as many toxins. And same for your gut health. When we think about probiotics, prebiotics, all the things that we need to have in the gut, we also need to be checking if our gut lining is strong, if that barrier is protecting outside things from coming in and protecting that microbiome so we can have the healthiest gut possible. Armor Colostrum is a bioactive whole food. They source grass-fed, non-GMO, certified glyphosate-free, and sourced sustainably from family-owned dairy farms in the U.S. Armor only collects the overflow colostrum, the surplus remaining after the calves are fully fed, to receive all of their vital nutrients that they need. Typically, the surplus is discarded as industry waste, and instead, Armor upcycles it to ensure the calves' needs come first and no colostrum goes to waste. This one whole food has 400 plus bioactive nutrients and over thousands of benefits for the body. And we have a special offer to our audience. Receive 15% off your first order by going to tryarmra.com/TBM or enter TBM to get 15% off your first order. Again, that's tryarmra.com/TBM or check out the link in the show notes.
All right, on to the episode.
I'm so excited to dive into this one today because we get so many questions about lack mindset, scarcity mindset, abundant mindset, how to manifest money, what do we do in this economy? And we wanted to pull forth some of the mindset principles that people who are in their most highest authentic level of abundance are embodying, and then what are some of the limiting beliefs that get in the way. And at the very end, we have a really fun quiz so you guys can kind of see where you're at with money. Don't worry, we're going to be talking a lot more about money, and even more than money, what abundance truly looks like in your life. So Lacy, Janelle, welcome. I kind of wanted to kick off to you guys first before we dive in, just any pings or downloads coming in about this topic today.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is if you're a new listener, this is going to sound a lot different than what other manifestation brands or people talk about in terms of abundance mindset. It's a very different thing over here. So just noting that you may want to take notes. There's that. And then one thing that, is top of mind as we get into everything, I'm assuming many people are tuning in and affected by everything that's happening financially and politically, wherever you fall on the spectrum. Someone like me is a really good example, right? I'm 90% in the stock market. And as we get into this conversation in abundance mindset, guess what I haven't done? Given a shit of what's happening in the stock market. I haven't even looked at my portfolio. I don't care because I have such a deep trusting of abundance, and abundance now looks so different for me than just money and the theory of money. I look around and I'm like, you know what abundance really is? It's like getting back to all of the things that feed my soul and feed me. That's what it really is. And knowing that that is unlimited. And knowing also at the same time that money is unlimited for me because of where I've come from, which is the most extreme lack mentality for my upbringing to now in that mindset, which I haven't even looked at the market. I don't care. I know I'm going to be fine. Who cares? If I lost all of that today, I know that I would open a portal and remanifest all of it. I do not care. So I just really want to stress that as people are moving through the waves of a lot of fear that's going to be projected from everything externally right now, that really your internal compass is what completely drives where abundance is going into your life. And a really big thing, like when the pandemic hit, was a great example, right? It was an unknown. It was a vast unknowing of just holy shit and fear all around. And we put out episodes then that was like, you can still manifest in this. You can manifest. And in fact, we did as a brand. I really just wanted to touch on that because I know that's probably top of heart and mind for everybody. Your internal compass doesn't have to actually rely on or be that extremely affected by the external, regardless of what your profession is, because what we're going to get into is a lot of authenticity in your authentic calling, etc. So that's sort of just the little thing I want to dip into people's consciousness at this moment.
One thing I just want to point out there for anyone listening is that ability for Lacy to say, okay, if this goes away, I know I will be okay. I know I will figure it out. I know I have the value, the skills, the capabilities, drive, whatever it is to figure out how to get my needs met again. And I think the other thing to call out here is that by doing that, it takes money off the pedestal. It's not like money is going to be my ultimate security blanket. It's going to save me through all, thick and thin, which I think on a subconscious level, we're kind of primed to think because it does help us with comforts and freedoms and things in life. But when we are with this relationship with money, and it doesn't matter where your net worth's at, you could be like this and be a multimillionaire. You could be like this and living paycheck to paycheck. If you're thinking that money is the thing that's going to change your whole life, solve all of your problems, that is what you want to pull back and work through when we're talking about moving from that lack and scarcity into true abundance. Because true abundance is knowing the things that are most meaningful, most fulfilling in life is your authentic connection to the world, to your family, to your kids, to nature, to the things that light you up, that bring you joy. And not just your value because you accumulated all of these skills, but your value because you're just an inherent human being. And I know when I've gone up different rungs in my financial levels, really understanding our inherent worth and our ability to alchemize things into our life and trusting that, okay, we don't need to hit that pillar once and then we have to be stuck there, or, there's no more growth after that point. It's that faith, that trust. If you guys have done the strip DI, you know what we're talking about. When everything is removed, who are you? Who is your soul? And cultivating that muscle is actually going to get you to your perfect alignment with your financial level.
Remember back in the day, Lacy, when your blog was first out, it was like a saying that was the universe is your bank account.
Yeah.
And that has forever stayed with me because it's like very much like, okay, let me take accountability for my spending habits. Let me make sure that I am not passive, that I'm truly educated around money and finance. I don't want to, that stereotype of the woman that doesn't know anything. It's like, no, I want to you want to step in and educate, right? And then doing everything active on my end. But at the end of the day, I did my part and the universe is my bank account. Sinking into that trust so that you can kind of ride the waves. I remember even, just even all the things that we've gone through in our generation, right? Even 2020 and all the different things. It's like you could just step back and be like, okay, I don't know exactly how this is going to work out, but I trust that the universe is truly my bank account. Money comes through that.
It's funny because I think only people who have truly, truly done this work and have integrated the importance of what's required to attract abundance actually really go, yeah. They actually go, yeah, the universe, like for Jessica, it's not to be magnetic. It's not the side clients. It's not for me. It's not to be magnetic. It's not just real estate. It's not, you know what I did 3 weeks ago? I launched a Substack. Now that's a new portal. The universe is my bank account. And we're about to launch the Money Challenge. We will get into the different ways we open portals and the different ways we manifest money, but only the people who have really, really, really done the work to integrate lack mentality into the levels of abundance and consciousness really understand the universe is my bank account. It's not my partner. It's not my job. It's not my X, Y, and Z. It's the universe.
So good. I actually want to kick off with this one. So if we're going through different characteristics of people who are truly in that abundant wealth consciousness, number one pillar, their most valuable currency is their authenticity, alignment, and energy. So this is what we're talking about. When the universe is your bank, it means that you are not beholden to that job, that income portal, that trust fund, that payment from your spouse. You're not beholden to any of it because you value your authenticity and you know when you are in alignment, when you are coming from your authentic self, that is going to yield the best results for you. And especially if you're doing that from an unblocked way, right? You're not putting your authentic self out there, trying to test if it's good enough to be out in the world. You're like, no, I really see my inherent value as my unique, authentic self. And I noticed this in so many, decisions in business and career and finances and all the things where it's like, I see the crossroads. I'm like, well, that seems like a good strategy. But if I'm listening to my gut, that doesn't really feel right, or that doesn't feel good, or I could talk myself into that business opportunity, but the fire isn't there. The excitement isn't there. And then lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, I say no to that opportunity. And then that opportunity doesn't work out for someone else. And I'm like, thank God I listened to my gut because that was leading me in my alignment. How do you guys see this pillar sort of playing out?
So this is where I think the fact that we landed on the Money Challenge is going to be the mid-year challenge. It's where we completely revamped the money workshop. Completely revamped the money workshop, and that it's as digestible as how to manifest, right? And as actionable. But I think that's what's so exciting about it, because really what we're landing on as the focus is everything that your authentic essence is therefore, if you're really living truly in alignment with your authentic essence. We did the authentic challenge in December. If you've been with our brand, you've figured that out, you've revisited it. If you haven't, give it a little bit of a look, just those first 3 weeks before going into this challenge to truly understand. And if you don't have the time to do that, just like Jessica mentioned, the stripped DI that we put out, give the 2025 channeling a listen, because this will make a lot more sense. Also, I digress, but when something like the stock market's doing what it's doing and all the things that are happening, I know that's coming. The universe told me that's coming. I channeled that for 2025. It's the year of stripping. It is the year. So to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to be fine, because what did we say in that stripping channeling? everything comes down to your authenticity and your integrity in this year. That is how you're going to navigate all of the changes and flips and flops that are about to come your way. So now when you understand that, if you don't have the time to like do those first 3 weeks of the authentic challenge, just even doing that stripped DI is going to allow you to at least meet that authentic essence that is you. Now, when you take that and you pair it with the abundance mindset, that's what it takes to manifest money. It's just that simple, those two things. So I love that we're talking about in 2025 versus when I launched that workshop, and like how far this body of work has completely come to now that the main driver outside of the steps of how to build abundance and abundance consciousness is your authentic essence. That's everything. That's everything. People need to really, like, we need to hammer that on the head is what's coming through.
And we hear about the stripping, we hear about the crumbling, but I guess just echoing again what you're saying, Lacy, is that there may have been times in the past where people could manifest money from an inauthentic place, but where did they end up? Are they living their full alignment? Do they feel fulfilled and happy with their life? And arguably, is that even going to be sustainable for them in the direction that we're heading as a collective? I would argue that the only thing that's sustainable is doubling down on that authentic connection, because I think that connection is actually the exact, I mean, if you want to get real kind of woo-woo, my theory is that it's the exact thing that this planet needs to help evolve in a positive way in the future.
Yeah.
But even if you're like, okay, I don't know if I buy that yet, just test it out a little bit. When you take actions around your career or your money or your spending and you listen to alignment, when you make those decisions from that place, take note of what actions happen on the other side versus the ones where you're like, well, I have to stay stuck in this career because I'm already here. And even though I hate it, I don't want to give up a high paying job. If you're in a position where you feel stuck, where it feels misaligned, the pressure is only going to mount until you're ready to take that next leap. We're kind of saying, use the tools, get ready, get your nervous system ready so you can take that leap and be in charge of it. So it doesn't have to be this rock bottom.
And that then brings to like pure curiosity. Me as someone who like my nervous system isn't ever rocked by finances anymore, but it's rocked on the daily by children. Like, whoa, that like my daughter's 4 now and it's really, really coming up. But from, this method like the back of your hand, Janelle, you have gone on to manifest financially, your office, your partner, I mean, all the things you've wanted. Let's talk from a nervous system perspective, that authenticity and abundance mindset.
It's funny. So like doing all of these intensives, the intensive that I do the most is around manifesting love and manifesting money. And I love being a detective to figure out what the nuance and blocks are. Yes, it's like the person that's like, oh, I've always loved the arts and I'm a creative and I really want to be a hairdresser, but the market's saturated, so I don't want to get into that. So I'm just going to be a dental technician because that's smart and that's safe. Like that's what we're naming in this. Like the person that is out of alignment, that is in the general programming, that will only ever get you so far. And even in that, when you say yes to something that feels safe, even though you're out of alignment, it will take its toll on your soul. It will take its toll in other ways. Like you'll start paying for it until you finally go, okay, F it. I'm just going to go finally be in the arts and make that jump. And then it's like, it doesn't feel like you're working. And at its core, you're so passionate about what you do that then it's just, even if the money doesn't come through there, it comes through something else just because you are in alignment. The people that have the most peace and like wealth, whether it's financial wealth or personal wealth, are the people because they're in alignment. They're in that state of, they're in peace. Their life is a little bit more, honestly, just exciting. It just feels like everything's open. You're not in that oppressed energetic. So yes, first step is that. And then the other piece is, okay, what's the detective work that you need to do to figure out what your specific nuanced blocks are. For example, I just did one like a week ago, and her negative belief around money was, I don't deserve stability. And grew up in a lot of chaos and a lot of whatever. And so she was really self-sabotaging, and her spending habits were not good. And she was subconsciously self-sabotaging herself and kind of creating instability because she, at her core, didn't believe that she deserved stability. So it's endless, the angles that each individual can have around money trauma, money narratives, and where you're coming at. So get down in the DIs and figure out, okay, what's your specific angle and nuance and block?
Since moving into my mid-30s, I've been thinking a lot about longevity. How do I keep my body as healthy as possible as I get older? And one supplement I've been obsessed with for this is Fatty 15. It is a pure form of C15, an essential longevity-boosting nutrient that scientists have discovered as the longevity nutrient. It's the first essential fatty acid discovered in over 90 years, and it can be more effective than just your omega-3s and omega-6s. The founder, Dr. Steffi Van Watson, discovered C15 while studying aging of dolphins. She saw that in dolphins that lived longer, were healthier, had better cognitive function, less brain degenerative diseases, better heart health, lung health, all had higher levels of C15. And when they started studying C15 on a deeper level, they found that it was actually a geroprotector, which means it slows down biological aging. It addresses 6 hallmarks of aging, including boosting mitochondrial health, lowering inflammation, and reducing oxidative stress. It supports healthy liver function, strong and healthy red blood cells, healthy cholesterol levels, and healthy glucose handling. 1 in 3 people are deficient in C15, which is so important because when our cells don't have enough C15, we age faster. I love that by taking this powerhouse of a supplement, I'm investing not only in my health now, but my health in the future. And Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help you live longer and healthier. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/TBM and use code TBM at checkout. Or you can go in the link in our show notes. Again, that's fatty15.com/TBM for 15% off.
I'm curious too, Janelle, because you are doing, you get to do those in-person intensives, and where the intensives are where you literally take a thing someone's manifesting and you walk them through the entire day, finding their like core block for it and EMDRing it out and all the things, right? So I'm so curious when you see people really move the needle, right? They've come into you with something like you just said, their core block that's at the base, right? I don't deserve stability. Somebody who's projecting that into the universe will truly, absolutely never be able to manifest it until that's unblocked. New neural pathway is forged, and at the same time, they're expanding, seeing people that come from their background have then gone on to create stability and have the lives they deserve and want. Do you find that when people find the one big thing, that's so big, right? Like the root thing,
Yes.
the needle starts to move right away? Or do you find that it's like little pieces? I'm so curious now because I haven't worked with people in so long.
Yeah, I feel like, there's some times where it just like EMDR, like that belief is just flipped and it can't be unflipped. It is what it is. It's flipped. Now, somebody can have a bunch of different trauma narratives, and so they need to do more work around it. It's not just like a one-time thing. But I do think that sometimes when something just lands, it just lands and you're like, all right, we're done with this. Like,
Yeah, you're like, it's like next level.
yeah, I can even share mine. I think my big one that I identified that changed everything for me was probably honestly, 2017. It was the belief that I couldn't be a spiritual, kind, open-hearted person and have money. And I would have told you that's not true. But like deep down, when I really got in there, I was like, oh my God. And what the narrative for me was that I grew up with pastors and missionaries, and those people that really were kind of in poverty were the ones that were valued as the most spiritual. You were a good person, you were in service, you were the closest to God. And even though I grew up in a community with a lot of wealth around me, it was still the ones that were in those positions that were really like, those were the ones that really loved God. That was the narrative around it. And so when I got in there and looked, I was like, oh my God. Because it's kind of this martyr, for me, it would be like a deep martyr mentality. So that was when that clicked for me, I was like, okay, no. It was a very quick move and everything changed after that.
I do think it's so educational for people. It's the same thing for women as well, right? Like there's a very specific programming that came through the patriarchy. It was like so specifically designed in an effort that people could be in service and want for naught. So it just goes to show how societally, with our subconscious looping, it's so deep societally, the programming we've received, right? Especially if you're a woman. Demographically, if you're different types of women, it's deep. It has been so subliminally pushed into you through media, through commercials, through school, formal education. It's so deep. So I just love that example of you sharing that. And it just highlights to the work at To Be Magnetic why it's just so important to deprogram all of that. But B, who the fuck am I? Who is my authentic self? Who is my essence? And that's why, we keep going back to the theme of this year is stripping. And that strip DI, is so clutch for understanding. Again, also, I just want to say, if you're brand new here, like a friend shared this episode with you, you're here. The DIs are our self-proprietary hypnosis process that include EMDR inspired tools, somatic experiencing through Janelle's advisory with us, really specific types of theta waves, et cetera, right? It's in an effort to reprogram your subconscious, but understanding who your authentic essence is, not even your purpose, just your authentic essence and what that energy feels like and how it should feel in your everyday life. Then you start to deprogram all of this stuff that society is telling you financially you have to be, will never get out of, and or should feel guilty about if you want X, Y, and Z. Deprogramming all of that and then starting to figure out from my authentic self how I navigate finances. To me, it's just like a mathematical equation. It's inevitable that you will find abundance in your perfect, authentic way. People listening to that too could also be like, oh, well, I don't just want like my abundance to be like this. I'm saying with that, everyone's authentic abundance is very different. My authentic net worth in comparison to, say, a celebrity's, right, could be equal, but I prefer a little cottage on a mountain inside, it's a very different thing. So when I say your authentic version of abundance, the abundance is unlimited. It's unlimited to whatever your authenticity desires and how big it can expand and take aligned action. It's unlimited. If you can show it to see to believe based on anybody out there in the world you identify with, it can continue to grow and grow and grow and be whatever. If that looks like financial cash, if that looks like real estate, the market, if that looks like having a huge herb garden, it's again just getting into what is our authentic wealth, our authentic abundance.
And I think if you're someone who's attracted to the quick fix of money, there's a deeper conversation to be had there with yourself. And it's not maybe the answer you want to hear, but it's the answer that's going to give you what you're actually looking for by the quick fix. Because healing your relationship or relation to money on a deep level is not about just, oh, well, now I can make a bunch of money and life is good. It's how do you see yourself within the world? How do you value your time, your space, your energy? How do you give and receive? What does that process look like? It's not just about hoarding. It's that exchange. It's that flow. It's if you have money, where are you giving that out to others? Whether that's hiring employees to do a job that they absolutely love, whether that's buying goods from the artisan down the street. How are you having this exchange with money where it's not this, again, lack mindset is hoarding. Lack mindset is like, I'm going to build up my arsenal and just have it sit in a bank and that's it. And it'll just be there for one day. What exchanges do you want to be doing with that money too? And I think that's sort of the paradigm we're pushing into, especially I know so many people in the spiritual community have that like, oh, can you be spiritual and make money? They feel like conflicting ideologies. It's like, yeah, that's because we're looking at the old paradigm version of what wealth consciousness is. We're looking at the old paradigm of hustle, it's me against you, it's competition. You don't do your authentic passion or purpose. You have to take from others in order to build your arsenal. And really what we're getting pushed into, whether we're aware of it or not, is that is not infinite abundance. If we operate like that, yeah, of course there's going to be glass ceilings there. But if we operate from the perspective that everyone has their own unique value, purpose, abundant life that looks so different to them, and they could be generous and give and all the things, that world is infinite. And so when you can step into that, I think we're going to have such a paradigm shift.
Well said.
Here are just some of the other ones going through. And we don't have to get as deep in them. And we're going to cover a lot of this in the challenge. But we talked about this one. People who really have that high level of abundance and wealth consciousness, trust in the flow of money. Like Lacy was saying at the top of the episode, it's not like, oh no, this happened, I have to scramble. Or I've even seen this with a lot of people in their businesses over the last year. And I've been talking to a lot of like podcasters. They're like, oh no, the numbers are down. Like, what do we do? Scramble. What's the quick fix? And again, it's like trusting, oh, this is just a dip. There are times in the year that this dips and it'll come back again. If I am coming from a place of alignment, if I am listening to my pings, if I'm connecting with my passions, if I'm listening to my gut on what's a good or bad business decision for me, then I trust it will flow back in again. It's not freaking out when there is that dip. It's knowing that like, okay, that's normal. It doesn't need to really impact me in that massive way. And then we have people are open to possibilities and opportunities because they believe it's possible. Lacy, you talked about this, like expansion being such a huge pillar in transforming through wealth and finance and all the things. And also this concept of the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale. Talk more about that.
I've been having a couple of channelings and I send them through to Jessica, but one that came through was, and this applies to money, even though it's not directly money related, but one of the number one characteristics I see in people they're very successful, they reach their ultimate levels of success that have nothing to do with any of those like success books and the hacking success stuff at all. This is just like pure channeling from the universe, is that they don't ever get caught up in the values of others because they're so secure in their own values that they don't care about the other. They just care about connecting with people and with ideas, and then knowing that those aren't going to really sway their values, so there's no threat on their values. Those people could give a shit what somebody thinks about politically or financially or just whatever. They know there's just something to glean from every person. And they're genuinely so lit up to like learn about people and what people are thinking and what they're doing with every person they meet from any walk of life. That's a huge characteristic that I've seen from people who ultimately become as successful as they desire to be. And then of course, abundance follows that in the authentic ways that they desire abundance. So that's a really big one. And recently, and I've mentioned this on another podcast, is I've just been really triggered by my daughter is really into fairy tales, right? She loves listening to them and they just really fucking trigger me because they're all about the princess is like sings beautiful enough to meet the prince and then it's happily ever after. And it's a version of that, right? And I'm like, this sets people up for such failure. And so at nighttime, I always do a story by mouth. So I'm always like, and then the mermaid decided that she wants it. I'm like programming into this stuff that it's like not about appealing to a man and all the things, right?
And Lacy's gonna open up a new portal of children's books soon.
I love it.
I'm having a lot of downloads about this, so stay tuned. But then I had this moment. She really loves that podcast, Granny McDuff, and it's one of the few I can listen to with her. It's all fairy tales. But we were listening to the Beauty and the Beast version, and it unlocked something in me. I was like, wait, why I loved fairy tales so much when I was little. And of course, had to reprogram all of the things around love. But what I loved about them, like Beauty and the Beast, is that you could come from anything and anywhere and ultimately use magic to create and manifest whatever you want. And I went, whoa, that was a light bulb moment. Yeah, so more things to come in the parent-children realm. I'm having a lot of downloads on that. So that's like another second aha moment. But then the third was, I sent you yesterday, Jessica, and this is when something's a channel because I forget it. It was freedom. Yes. Another thing that I see in people that have ultimate abundance consciousness is they're never looking at the money. I mean, at some points in the healing process, they are. I had this where it's like, I have the money, I'm going to buy the thing so I can be loved, you know, and then you get over that like you do with everything. But ultimately, at the end of the day, their goal to open up financial freedom for themselves was ultimate freedom, to have the freedom to live the life that they want to live. You know, it's not, if I get this, then I will be happy, I will be loved, I will be solved. Even the like hint of that beneath it, it's just a lack mentality, right? It's a lack thing that has to be addressed, which of course we'll give the framework for in this challenge. But yeah, those are three little through lines that the universe is starting to like quietly whisper to me. It's just important to recognize that. Am I somebody who is really triggered by the values of another person that I can't connect with some little glistening of their personal magic? That's a problem. You're not in the abundance mindset that's going to take you all the way to your ultimate success. And again, it doesn't have to just be financial success in whatever you desire to be successful in and have and do. And then the fairy tale thing's a side note, but do you believe in magic? Do you believe that anything's possible for you? Because that's something that people with the ultimate abundance consciousness has. They have that. They believe that at the end of the day, at the root of their soul, they do. And that's something you can unblock if you don't believe, as is the first thing with shadow work. And then the third, do you desire money to fix you or for freedom? And only you can be honest with yourself on that. And truly only your subconscious can be honest about that, what you really believe.
It's so interesting. As we were crafting the challenge and I was doing some of the exercises, one of them has you kind of say like, okay, if you had unlimited abundance right now, filter it into your life. What would you be doing differently? Like, how would you operate your life differently? And for me, the number one thing was like, I would hire support. Like I would hire someone to organize my closet. I'd hire someone to help me decorate my home and like pick the things that feel so aligned. I would hire an assistant. And I was like, that's kind of cool to think about. My next level of abundance isn't, I'm going to go collect these fancy things or I need to prove XYZ to someone else. It's like, oh, cool. My next level of abundance is I get to give someone money for their passion. If they love to organize closets or if they love to design homes or if they love to be an assistant and help someone out in that way.
You were essentially going, oh, my next level of abundance is going to allow me to delegate and detox further of the things that aren't my authentic code right now. To me, it's just like such a straight line.
And also there's that knowing and that freedom of like, oh, I see how this will support and help me, which makes going after the money and making decisions from a place of abundance more clear. Because I know that like my side of the street is clean, my intentions are clear, they're in alignment with my values and all of those things. So going towards that makes sense. And same thing I had when I manifested the home, there's this feeling of like, okay, I know, and it took me a while to get here because I will say that there have been many seasons where I did not feel like this, but this is the power of this work. But there is this feeling now where I'm like, I know I will get there. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of, is it this year? Is it next year? Is it another 5 years from now? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm sure I'll have many lessons in the in-between while I'm still doing stuff that I'm not able to delegate and detox. And that's okay. It's having that faith in what you're saying, the magic. Like I have faith in that happening in the most divine timing.
And that is a key for abundance mindset. Like, you know, it's just a matter of time. You really, and it's so interesting. You'll have to link that episode that we kind of go through, Jessica, your manifestation process your personal pattern, because when you're about to go to the next level, it's always when you have that North Star and then you just let go and know you're doing all of the work and it's just a matter of time before it hits. So big.
You've heard us talk about our Pathway membership, but what actually is it? It is an all-access membership where you can get every single workshop that we've ever created, all of our deep imaginings, which are our reprogramming audios, to help you manifest. You can access it on the desktop or in the TBM app on your phone directly. We, of course, have our foundational workshops, such as our How to Manifest workshop, which takes you step by step through this neural manifestation process to actually unblock, expand, and take aligned action to connect with your manifestations. Our How to Be Magnetic workshop, our Inner Child and Shadow workshops. And then, of course, we have a workshop if you are in a rut, if you're in a rock bottom, if you're in up level, perhaps you need to set boundaries. Maybe you want to focus specifically on the block of money or love. It is all in there. And then twice a year as a community, we gather for our challenges. Our challenges are one of the most effective parts of the process because you get accountability. It is really a handheld experience in how to work through whatever the theme of that year's challenge is. And now to my absolute favorite part of our membership, which I think in and of itself would be worth the entire weight of the membership if we just had this alone, our Deep Imagining library. This library encompasses over 60 neural reprogramming audio tracks. They're self-hypnosis tracks that will really support you in any step of this journey. If you're needing calming, nervous system regulation, unblocking with a specific test or trigger, going through a difficult time, processing a big emotion, or maybe you just want reinforcing, how to reinforce those neural pathways of confidence, abundance, self-worth, deservingness, and connection with your dream life. And not only that, if you go to the app, we just launched Deep Imagining playlists where we're grouping different themes of DIs together. So no matter what you're going through, you have something for you. And we're constantly dropping new playlists as well as brand new Deep Imaginings. And if you need more support in your process, you can go to our brand new video series, Channelings with Lacy, where she touches on the exact energetics that are going on right now in manifestation and how it may apply to your life. So obviously, I am a huge fan of this membership. The peace of mind I get from being able to have all the tools I need at my disposal, no matter where I'm at with my life, if shit's hitting the fan, if I'm feeling dysregulated, if I'm needing to come back to my center, if I'm needing to brainstorm or daydream or connect with what my vision for my future is, every single tool is in there to support me. And don't just take my word for it. We have thousands of testimonials of people who have had incredible success stories with these tools. So take the guesswork out of your manifestation process and get real tools that are going to give you real results. For podcast listeners only, you can use code EXPANDED, all caps EXPANDED, for 20% off your first month of the pathway. Join now and have your best year yet. Janelle, what are your thoughts on all of the...
I have like so many. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm just eating it all up. But I'm like, I have so many. I mean, I feel like, okay, ultimately you step in your authenticity. Then you do your own personal, individual unblocking around it. And then the other piece, which keeps coming to mind for me, is just taking radical accountability of like how you show up in money. And I think this is where like nervous system stuff can kind of come into play because
week 2 of the challenge will be diving into this.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's like just the piece of like really looking at kind of what's driving you, where your value is, your own habits, how you spend, all of that kind of stuff. Like you could be in your authenticity and you can be unblocked, but you could have really shitty money habits. And then that's not going to pan out for you. So there has to be accountability on that end too. And I think one thing, I'll share this as just my own experience this last year, which was interesting. So, my boyfriend is a Bitcoin teacher and he's a Bitcoin nut. And
I've had a session with him and he's amazing.
He is. And so I hear about it all day long. And And it's honestly been like so transformative for me, understanding the history of money. And I've geeked out on a whole different layer that I didn't even know existed, which has been really, really cool for me. But what's interesting is with that work, I've noticed without trying that my spending habits have changed. Really at the beginning, like maybe a year ago, I was like, it's time for a new car. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't want the new car. I would rather save and invest right now than get the new thing. It's like not needing external validation anymore. And just there's something that shifts when you're in like your intentions, the mindset around it, the education around it can kind of like shift your core of like what you spend. Or another thing I think that can kind of like unconscious patterns that can happen if somebody's dysregulated, they're just looking for quick dopamine hits versus hold up. Instead of just buying, this is fun, this is fun, this is fun. Let me pull back. What do I really need? Kind of honestly working with that minor, I'm going to call it a minor addiction to spending, and being able to get to the root of that, regulate, and then buy with very clear intention. It's almost like somebody that's kind of like a binge eater. They'll eat all of the diet foods and never be fully satiated. And if they just give themselves what they want and eat with consciousness, a lot of the food noise goes away for them. And I think that's kind of the same thing with spending. If you really want this, I don't know, bag or this, whatever the item is, whatever the thing is, and you allow yourself to get exactly what you want, not the cheap version, not the whatever, but you allow yourself to buy with intention and enjoy what you purchase and to be truly satiated by your purchase versus mindless like numbing.
That's huge. I see a lot of people with that. Well, there's also that, like you said, there's the high of the purchase. There's the, I'm so dysregulated, but purchasing this thing makes me feel good. It's new, it's exciting, it's a dopamine hit. I would argue it also has to do with the time we're in with our phones, where it's so easy to purchase. You make the click, click, click. So that is another part of, and maybe it's not a deep, deep inner block, but maybe it's just a nervous system piece. How can you regulate and lean on something outside of spending to help you through those ebbs and flows?
I feel like it adds up though. If you're not in accountability with yourself around it, it does add up.
Yeah, to a lot of debt, probably.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you have cash, it just adds up to a lot of shit that's going to go into a landfill. This is also why we really hammer on the authentic code and using that to be your filtration system for everything. When I'm looking at my authentic code, if I'm buying outside of my 4 pillars, what am I doing? It doesn't even make sense. So it just allows you to anchor and ground in a lot of decisions in your life that will be a compass that leads you to abundance. But everything you're saying is so big. It's so big, yeah. Janelle. It's so important. It's a big awareness to dive into.
I feel like it increases self-worth too. Like when you allow yourself to get really educated around money and build your confidence, there's something that's so empowering about that. It's so settling it to your own nervous system when you have that knowledge.
What I really hope you guys take away from this episode today, and again, this is just the tip of the iceberg that we're going to be diving into with money and wealth consciousness, is that no matter what your story is, no matter what your narrative is, if you have those shadow blocks, if you grew up in complete lack, if you don't have the expanders, it is possible to transform it. These mindset shifts, these ways that people look at money from true wealth consciousness, true abundance is possible for you. And just take this, no matter what level you're at in this game of it all, just take whatever spoke to you today and get curious. What is one thing that sparked my curiosity in this conversation that I could start thinking about how I relate to money and how I can shift that and how I can take my power back? Because I think that is also part of this new paradigm shift too, is really understanding that you can have the power. You can manifest what you truly want despite what's going on around you. And not invalidating that, well, yeah, of course, groceries are higher. I like hear the person be like, well, blah, blah, they're going to have that fight back to it. But allow the seed to be planted for what Lacy said, magic. Allow the seed to be planted for something bigger and greater and something maybe even you can't see for yourself from this moment forward.
Yay!
So exciting. And we will see you guys next time. Share this around. Let us know what came up for you. Leave us comments in the Spotify and in the YouTube, what you're picking up on and thinking with your abundant mindset. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode and gave you some food for thought around abundance, around money, around manifesting from that true place. And just to break it down for you guys, simplify it one more time in case you want to write it down, think about this mindset. I know for me, whenever I've been in a place of lack or scarcity or trying to get to my next level of abundance, having expanders and just even the ideas of how do people who are really in their true abundance think? How do they operate? How do they act? And not in a way of copycatting them, but in a way of, how are the ways that I can start embodying that right now? So I'm going to break down the pillars we covered in the episode in case you want to write them down or have them saved anywhere. 1, their most valuable currency is their authenticity, alignment, and energy. We talked about this in the episode, but this is where you truly value your skills. You see that abundance is knowing your value, knowing your worth. It's that deep, deep, deep feeling of deservingness. 2 is really expansion because they are open. They are open to possibilities. They are open to new opportunities. They are open to new income portals. They're open and expanded to see life as, if that didn't work out, what else can? Or if this is happening now, what will happen next? It's shifting from it can only come in and look a certain way to their infinite possibilities, infinite ways abundance can come through. 3, they trust the flow of money. They know their ebbs and dips. They're not freaking out when there is a dip and they're not scrambling to move out of their integrity, out of their authenticity just to have another up. They trust that when you give, it comes back and they're in that dance and flow. 4, they see money as a tool, as an opportunity to connect with their authentic freedom and highest impact. They don't see money as something that is just going to make them worthy or valuable. They see money as something that is going to help them get what they ultimately desire, which is freedom to be their true authentic self and safety. And number 5, which is huge, 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 they see wealth as more than just money. It's not just about the money. You're not putting the money on the pedestal. It's about the wealth, the abundance of your relationships, of your time, of your day-to-day, of your experiences in nature, of your abundance in love and interaction, your abundance of energy and passion. It is so much more than just money. So you can have abundance in all these areas in your life, but are you putting money on a pedestal saying, well, this doesn't matter until the money is there? Can you start to see how abundance already is funneling through you in so many different ways, even if you're not exactly where you want to be with money? Now, if you want to know where you are at with money on a subconscious level, not where your net worth is at, not where your success level is at, not what is possible for you, but just where your subconscious is at when it comes to wealth consciousness, take our money quiz. It is completely free and it'll break down all of the levels and archetypes that we have found have been the most common in our community that we've noticed time and time again. And the beautiful thing about this quiz is no matter where you are, we are going to get you to the next level with our upcoming money challenge. It is launching on June 2nd, the pre-week. This is probably one of the bodies of work that I am most proud of putting out through TBM because these tools are the exact things that Lacy has used, that I've used, that a lot of the TBM members have used, and an even more robust way to make those shifts faster. Because really what it roots down, we need money for survival, obviously. And how can we want beyond that? Not money for money's sake, not money for validation, not even money just to survive, but how do we see money as a tool to really help us build our authentic, positively impactful life? That is what we're helping you get to. The other thing I just want to make a note for you guys, if anybody ends up in a level in their money quiz where they're like, dang, I can't believe I'm here. I'm so bummed I'm here. It's going to take me so long to move to this next level. Do not stress, because Lacy and I have both been at all of the rungs and we have moved through them. It is a mindset. It is how you relate to money, and that can be shifted. That can be overwritten. We have seen it time and time and time again. So do not stress. No matter where you're at financially today, that all can change. We have so many examples of people who have gone from absolutely nothing to creating the dream life that they really truly want for themselves. It is so possible. Just hold on to that belief. So check out the quiz in the show notes. Stay tuned for our upcoming challenge and more on this soon.